Welcome back, everybody. At least 215 people have been killed in Iran's crackdowns in the month since protests erupted across the country following the death, of course, of Mahsa Amini. According to the Oslo-based group Iran Human Rights, 27 school-aged children have also died in the Islamic Republic's retaliation against demonstrators who continue to voice outrage over her death, which occurred while she was in the custody of the so-called morality police for wearing her hijab incorrectly. And despite these deaths, more young girls are removing their hijabs as an act of rebellion right now. Iran's government says it is sending the children arrested in the protests to mental health facilities. But human rights groups contend these centers are actually more like detention facilities that are used for brainwashing. One human rights professional told CNN, quote, "They come out worse than they entered." Also, fears are growing for another young woman. A competitive climber from Iran left a competition in South Korea after competing without a headscarf covering. Well, now reports say she was forced to leave early by Iranian officials and could be arrested back home. But Iran has denied those reports. For some insight and context to what is happening in Iran and what it means for the future of the country, of course, we're now joined by Abdullah, the founder and secretary general of the Koumlە Party of Iranian Kurdistan. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. We appreciate your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. For folks who may not be following this as closely as we are, talk about the death here that spawned this moment that we're in and why this particular act has elicited such a rebellious and revolutionary spirit in Iran. We've seen other flare-ups. Is there anything that makes this one different? Why has this resonated so deeply?
It was Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish girl in Tehran, who was beaten to death while in custody by the notorious morality police. And this sparked a protest in her hometown of Sakis, and then we have a cooperation center of Iranian Kurdish political parties. They called for a general strike and for street demonstrations, and it was observed by the vast majority of people. Then it spread to the rest of Iran. The reason is because the society was boiling with anger and resentment in recent years because of economic failure, mismanagement, widespread corruption, total lack of freedoms, discrimination against women, including forced hijab, discrimination against ethnic and religious minorities, and all that. So this time we have had many protests in Iran, but this time everybody agrees that it's different. It is called Iran Revolution 2022.
And where does it go from here? Is this just a flare-up, or do you think anything substantive and enduring will emerge out of this, especially in the light of how hard the Iranian government is cracking down on the Kurds and these protesters over these last several weeks?
I think it will continue one way or another, because the people are now, there is a feeling among the people that they should continue. Many people call it a revolution, not a protest movement, and think that this time this is the beginning of the end for the rule of Ayatollahs in Iran.
Let me switch gears on you before we let you go. The reporting this week, even though Iran is denying this, suggests that they are providing those kamikaze drones to Russia as we watch the situation in Ukraine deteriorate violently once again. Again, for folks who may not follow the ins and outs of international politics, explain right now the Iranian-Russia relationship, what it could mean for this war, and how it really is an alliance based on hostility to the West.
The alliance between Iran and Russia is nothing new. What is new is that they have upgraded it to a military level. The reason behind this is because both countries hate the United States, they hate the West, they hate the existing international order and want to destroy it. And both countries are in a more hostile mood toward against the world. So the drones and the missiles, sending them to the Russians to kill Ukrainian people means that the Iranian regime is seriously involved in the Russia's aggression against Ukraine, and it can only result in more international isolation, possibly more sanctions. And let me tell you that this is against the will of the Iranian people. We don't want this alliance. We want to be a free country, a free society, and a respected member of the international community.
And we are certainly a long way from that. Abdullah Mehtedi, Secretary General of the Koumla Party of Iranian Kurdistan, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us this morning. We certainly appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.